Everyone has a secret. So remember, everyone in the buying process and the selling process has a little bit of a secret. Sellers won't disclose all the facts. So you know that you've heard stories about people who have purchased properties only to find out that there's an issue with the roof or the boiler's about to break down. These are things that aren't going to be disclosed by either the seller or the estate agent. The estate agent's not going to tell you that because the estate agent, as you know, works for the seller. As a buyer, you're not going to disclose all of your information either. So if you know that your budget is $600,000 to buy a new home, you're not going to tell the seller that you have $600,000 or that you want to spend $600,000. It's part of the negotiation process. Solicitors and brokers are just doing their best to manage your expectations. So quite often, it makes it a little bit difficult if they're being delayed by a third party to just tell you, well, this deal is going to take a lot longer than you thought it would take. They're going to manage your expectations. And as a broker, it's my job to make sure that I'm always open and honest with you, that I try to get the best information from the solicitor, and also that I negotiate the very best price for you when you're purchasing that home that you want to buy. The next thing to remember is it takes longer than you think it will. I often talk to people and they've watched a lot of television. So they've watched a lot of these shows that are beautifully edited to make it look like buying a home is just a simple thing. You go, you speak to the estate agent, you may meet the seller, they tell you a little bit about their background, and then before you know it, you're moving in and doing your decorating. Well, the truth is that that is not the truth. Purchasing a home takes a lot longer than people tend to think. So it's always going to be as fast as the slowest person. So what I mean by that is if you're working with a solicitor that's slow and everybody else is fast, your deal is going to take a long time. If you're working with a broker that's slow and everyone is fast, the deal is going to take a long time. So you want to make sure that you have the right team of people moving as quickly as possible. And that includes you. Quite often, I find that clients just get caught up in the everyday life of living, and they don't respond to emails as quickly as they should. They don't send documentation over as quickly as they should, and that can delay the purchase process. So it's important that you respond to any request that your broker makes in a timely manner, and that you have the right people on your team. Life is very busy, and sometimes people go on vacation. So depending on when you're buying your new home, it may be coming up on bank holidays, or it may be coming up on Christmas or Easter or any holiday, which will mean that someone in that process is probably out of the office. Not everyone has someone to pick up their work when they're out of the office. So just be mindful that the home buying process takes longer than you may think that it does. The other thing to keep in mind is the timelines. If you're buying a new house, it takes about 4 to 6 months to go from offer being accepted all the way to you getting your new keys. In fact, the UK has one of the longest processes for buying a new home. Now, when I say 4 to 6 months, I'm talking about from the moment that the offer is accepted. It may take a month just to negotiate the deal. So 4 to 6 months is kind of an average. You will hear those stories from friends and family members about the unicorn purchase where the person went out, found the property the first weekend that they were looking, and 2-3 months later, they were in the new home. That's not a realistic expectation. So if you're looking to buy a new home, do give it 4 to 6 months for the entire process. And I would say that that is if everybody is firing on all cylinders, if there's no chain, meaning the person that is selling the property isn't also trying to buy another property, because that can complicate things. So 4 to 6 months for a purchase. Then if you're remortgaging, So if you're remortgaging, that means you currently have a mortgage and you are now going to another lender. So you may have a mortgage with, let's just say, HSBC, and your fixed term has come to an end, and you have looked around and you've seen that another lender has a better rate. Just a word to make everyone make sure that they go about this the right way. You should always go to your broker with the deal that your current lender has offered. It is going to be a lot quicker and a lot easier sticking with your current lender because new valuations won't need to be done. In many cases, you don't need to provide any additional documentation. You just need to accept the offer that maybe they've sent out to you. So in most cases, what you'll find is probably 3 months before that deal comes to an end, your current lender will send you a letter saying your deal is coming to an end. This is what we can offer you. All you have to do is let us know that you want to take us up on this offer. But you should take that offer to your mortgage broker, that your mortgage broker can search and see if that's the best thing available to you. Understanding that when you remortgage, there's a lot of things that you can change. You can change the remaining term. You can change lots of different things within that deal. So get your letter from your existing lender, take it to your broker. That way they have something to compare it to. So I did speak about product transfers. So product transfers take about 1 to 2 weeks. That is when you stay with your existing lender and maybe just go to a different product. So if you're doing a new purchase, that's going to take 4 to 6 weeks. If you're doing a remortgage, it takes 7 to 10 weeks. So that means you're taking your current mortgage to another lender. So a new valuation is going to need to be done. You're going to need to provide all of the things that you provided when you took out your first mortgage. If you stay with your current lender, which is a product transfer, that's going to take 1 to 2 weeks. Additional expenses are something that you need to keep in mind because if you are purchasing a new home and you are going to be moving, there's going to be other expenses that you may not have considered. These expenses are going to come out of your deposit. So when you speak to your mortgage broker and you're explaining how much you have for a deposit, one of the things that you want to make clear is how much you have in total. That way they can give you a guide for how much some of the other things are going to cost. So you may need a moving van. There may be things that you need to do as far as light decorations before you move in. You're going to need to pay solicitors, and you're also going to need insurance if you're buying a home. Insurance on a home, so not a flat, insurance on a home is going to be a mandatory regulated requirement. So they won't complete on the mortgage if you do not have building insurance in place. In addition to your building insurance, you absolutely want to speak to your mortgage advisor about protection or insurance. So that would be critical illness insurance, that would be life cover, and that would be income protection. While you are taking out your mortgage, this is the best time to make sure that you have a will in place. You are going to be purchasing probably the most expensive thing that you buy in your entire life. So you want to make sure that you have a will in place. If you have a will in place, but you haven't reviewed it, now's a great time to review your will. So think about those additional expenses that come along with buying a new home or moving into a new home. Today's advice for anybody purchasing a new home: don't cut corners on your solicitor or your mortgage broker. I speak to a lot of people that have gone with the cheapest solicitor, and it's ended up costing them hundreds, if not thousands of pounds. You want a solicitor that's going to be responsive, move the deal through as quickly as possible, because remember, the deal will only be as fast as the slowest person, and you don't want your solicitor to be the slowest person. The same thing goes for your broker. Speak to a broker who has experience, someone you trust, someone that's been recommended by a friend or a family member, someone that they have used recently. Going on Google is probably not the best way to find a mortgage broker. We have lots of groups that you can ask people in the group about a mortgage broker that they know, someone that they trust, and someone that they've used recently. My name is Anthony Lindsay. I have 30 years of finance experience. I'm here to answer your questions. If you have any questions about purchasing a home or just anything finance related, you can reach out to me.